Yeah, thanks for just being here today and for participating. And I think that, yeah, we all at different you're at different stages in your businesses, but there's always room to go and refine and to look at what you're doing and look at positioning and look at marketing, etc., which is really what we're going to be stepping into now for the next 3 or 4 months of the Business Brilliance program. Because can you believe it? I mean, we in like 3 months' time, we would have actually been meeting for a year. So Jules, I know you joined a little bit later, but it was literally this time last year that we actually started coaching together. It seems to be insane the way time is going, and I think just the energy that we are all experiencing at the moment, there is such a big sense of overwhelm. I think on a global level, we are picking up on energy, even if we protect ourselves and meditate. I'm waking up at 3:00 every single morning and just having to manage my energy. I went for early morning swim this morning, watched the moon set, watched the sunrise, just to actually sustain my own energy to get through the day. And holding, I think we're all holding stuff really at an unconscious level, tapping in. There's been so many personal losses that we've all experienced, and then there's this massive global loss, and the economy going crazy, and SARS, and just all of that stuff that's happening on a huge level as well. So what I think would be quite useful is for us just to review kind of what we went through last week, and to look at just positioning when you are wanting to market and you are wanting to build out and start to get clients. Paul, I know you've got clients, but I mean, this is also something for you when you are going to bring your focus back onto the Converge to Connect business. It's just to look at some of these things that you can be doing, and this is also a good. You don't have to do all of them, but I did my Sales Brilliance bootcamp presentation yesterday, first webinar, which is based on my new client cultivator blueprint. And I was doing some research, and I'll actually let me just pull it up and just show you. I'll just show you the slide quickly. Because when I was doing this research, first of all, I want to show you my blueprint. So this is also how simple your blueprint can be. It doesn't have to be hugely complicated. So here you've got, where we start with clarity, then canvassing. So this is ultimately building out your sales journey. So clarity is what we've been working on. Now we're going to go into canvassing those clients. Connecting is building trust with them, cultivating those relationships, or your love strategies that you want to add to them, and then converting them into clients, onboarding them in a brilliant way, and continuing to collaborate with them to grow their business, and then building community. And then the outcomes of that is relationship, trust, love, and loyalty, because that's ultimately what you want to be having with your clients. There's my wolf there. That's part of my essence. But when I was having a look at these stats, in terms of when we're engaging with new clients, that the clients that are in our ecosystem at the moment are very sales sensitive. I think you just know, you get pinged. I got pinged on LinkedIn, I think on Wednesday. This person connected with me before they even said hello, nice to connect, whatever. They just banged me out this email that was obviously, on LinkedIn, saying, this is what we do. These are the services that we offer. Here's the link to, my payment page. And I was like, what the actual, you know what I mean? That's not how you go about it. That isn't actually going to be a way of doing it. But if you look at this, 85% of all emails are spam. So, and 36% of those mails are advertising. So we can't just, in the old days, we used to be able to just connect with a person, go and have one meeting with them and jump into the sale. And we literally just can't do that anymore. This whole spam industry is costing businesses $25 million a year. And 85% of organizations have been targeted by phishing scams in 2021. And those are massive stats, because it's kind of what we're up against when we are wanting to grow or scale our business in a big way. We can't be reliant on just making that connection and diving into the sale. So I think what would be most useful for us today is just to have a quick look at, in fact, I can just use this slide, at this premium positioning formula, because this is going to help you to position yourself as an authority. And obviously you're going to adapt this to your own business and apply it. And not everything that is here is going to be applicable to every single one of us. So if you look here at the first element, and Alex, this is quite good for you in terms of, maybe you don't have clients right now in Cape Town. So to look at, influencers that you can maybe connect with. So I don't know, this guy that you're meeting with, if he's got those kinds of connections. Sorry, I just want to turn off my WhatsApp. Connecting with him. If there are any premium clubs or professional associations that you can become a member of, that like Certified Organic or anything like that. Julie, you've already got your membership of this professional association. But one of the things that would also be really great is, and I know it's not something that you feel happy doing, but is in these boardrooms and in these consultations that you're doing, is to actually either take a photo of you with them, or just show your connection with them, or get them to write you. You're getting this feedback from your clients. Get them to do it in like a more formalized way, so that you're building that transference. You're actually gaining expert positioning through your association with these people. Then obviously from a place of authority, if you write something, that's going to give you authority. So Alex, that could be an ebook for you. Jules, that can also be something that you've written around the SaaS industry, or keeping your business compliant, etc. And then looking at any industry awards that you've got, putting up your professional titles and qualifications. And then also, to do some scientific research and results. So actually, if you do, Alex, like start to track whatever it is that you're doing, so that you can actually show those results. And then substance has become a really, really big thing as well, because of this. I mean, I don't know about you, but by the end of yesterday, where I'd coached online, I'd run a webinar online, I was finished. And this kind of human connection that we're missing in this online world, substance plays such a big role. So being able to give somebody, a sample of your work. So, and it might not even be necessarily a sample of your own work, but it could be something like, I know one of the other guys that's on the Circle of Excellence. I mean, he's a speaker and a coach, so he's not necessarily, he doesn't have a physical product. So what he does is he gives all of his clients a beautifully branded bag of coffee. He loves coffee. So he's gone and he's found this amazing coffee supplier. He's partnered with them. They brand, he brands this coffee. It's substance. There's a beautiful sense of smell that goes with it. It's tactile. It's like multi kind of dimensional. And then, you know, providing like a hardcover coffee table book. So Paula, this could even be something for you, you know, to put together a beautiful book of all the marketing strategies that you've done, you know, all the campaigns that you've run, maybe with some, you know, the pictures of it, some of the stats, the tracking. It's substance. It's giving your perspective and even your existing clients something from you. You know, I'll never forget this. Fred went overseas to go and watch the Rugby World Cup in Australia, and he was only there for 5 days. At the airport, when he was leaving to come back home, Vodacom had hosted him. He received this beautiful photo book, like with this beautiful cover of the like Springboks and everything, and all of the photos that he was in when he was on this tour. And I mean, I don't know how they pulled it off, because I mean, the last photo was taken at like 3 o'clock that morning when they were all partying after England had beaten Australia in the final. And at the airport at like 7 o'clock the next morning, here was this book. And it's just so incredible, because it's like all those memories that are there. So, you know, it could be something just of all of your clients. You know, Julie, you want to create synergy with your clients, putting something together that actually is like an intro to all of them. This is what this person does, this is what that person does, and you put it in a book, and they actually receive it as a physical thing. I mean, obviously we can do that online as well, but the substance thing is actually is giving people something that they can touch, that they're going to remember you by. So, you know, a beautiful like corporate glass folder. You know, we don't even think about doing those things anymore, because we're hardly ever sitting in front of a client. But, you know, just to be able to give them something like that, like a big, I mean, one of the things that I did was I actually made like an A4 business card. So instead of it being like this little business card, it was like an A4 business card. It had some references on it. It had a picture of the flow code on it. So it was something different to just giving. It wasn't a brochure, but it was like an A4 business card. And then obviously if you are doing events, or you physically at a place, you know, you can obviously have banners and stands. And then building this credibility. So that is looking at, you know, obviously consistency, looking at working through that digital footprint. So just making sure that even if you're not driving social media across those platforms, that you do have a digital footprint that is there, that you are, you know, that it is covered, you are present on all of those different things, and you are posting, you know, even if you are posting once a week, if it's consistent, that is better than posting like 3 days in a row and then being off social media for like 4 weeks and then doing another like flurry of posts. And then obviously creating visibility. So, I mean, one of the things that I've started doing now that I've finally got a social media manager on board is having, you know, different folders of, you know, lifestyle pictures. And that is that's not going out there on social media and going, oh, look at this fabulous life that I'm living. It's much more around letting people see you, and so that they can connect with the real you. So if you're posting only business stuff, like if I'm posting only business quotes, or only like go and have a look at my Sales Brilliance bootcamp that I'm running in April, you know, here's the web page, they're not necessarily getting a sense of who you are. And that's part of that trust strategy. That's part of building out that trust strategy. And then obviously looking at social proof, you know, obviously having clarity in your messaging, etc., which we've spoken about, but social proof, you know, Paula, maybe you must do all of our media coverage. Start getting us in front of the right people. You know, media cover, running public events. Like I said to Fred today, I actually want to put together like a mastermind with a whole lot of other people, so that we can just get in front of people on a heart-to-heart level, and not let it be online. Like, I don't care if there's 5 people there. I'd rather do it with 5 people online, in person, than 50 people on a webinar online at this point. So running, you know, looking at public events, you know, Alex running little workshops, Jules running workshops around, you know, what's happening at the moment in this crazy world that we're living in. If you are traveling for business, you know, put it out there, show people that you are actually working out there on a bigger picture thing and global reach. And all of these things, you know, you can use this. You can look at these things and say, okay, I'm going to just pull like 3 of these things now that I'm going to take and I'm going to go and apply in my business right now. But I'm going to also use this as a measure or as an assessment in my business. And Paula, maybe you can use this on, you know, with your clients in terms of their own positioning as an assessment of where they are at. You know, if it's useful for you to actually take this and go and just use it for, you know, within that sphere. So, you know, so this, it's good to take and look across all of your digital platforms, and to go, okay, let's have a look here. Sorry, where is it gone now? You know, on that checklist that I sent through to you last week. Let me just check here. You know, on this digital footprint checker, you know, that you have this ticked off. So here's your credibility, your qualifications, your book, your associations, any accreditations, industry awards, your lifestyle, fans and followings, and raving clients. So that's going to build that credibility and help your potential clients build trust. So, you know, to go and check that you've got all of that on LinkedIn, that you've got it on Facebook, that you've got it on Instagram, and any of the other digital platforms that you're using. And then having a look at your websites, you know, having a business website, maybe having a personal website as well, that it's mobile friendly, that you're in, you know, business directories, landing pages. And if you Google your business, what comes up? So what actually comes up, and where are you sitting on that ranking? And I mean, maybe that's something that we could actually do today. And then obviously looking on LinkedIn, and also building out showcase pages on LinkedIn. So if there's different, you know, if you've actually done a business case study, for example, and you've shown, Paula, like how you've grown this brand across, you know, from 0 to 50,000 or whatever it is, you can actually have that as a showcase on your pages on LinkedIn. So it's just building that credibility. And then obviously looking at your social media, and that is, you know, making sure that your personal page on LinkedIn is up to date. And that's very, very important here, is to also have a business page on LinkedIn, so that it shows when on your personal page, you've actually got your own logo that's sitting there, showing that you are just a business, you're not just a person on LinkedIn. Facebook pages and Facebook groups. So, you know, getting together a Facebook group, Julie, might be your next thing in terms of creating the synergy amongst your clients. So getting them onto a group where you're sharing and you're posting information onto that. And you can just cross-post from LinkedIn to those groups. Instagram, personal and business. Pinterest, I mean, interestingly enough, Pinterest is actually becoming quite I don't know about Paula, what do you know about it? But I mean, Pinterest is becoming quite a thing where people are following you on Pinterest now, as well as on Instagram, LinkedIn. I mean, what is your view on that?
No, it used to be, it went through a stage about 6 years ago, where it was big. I thought it was going to play a much bigger role. Yeah. And then it sort of went off on its own. Certain industries, it's still very big. We were in it at one stage with wine clients, and then suddenly it sort of lost its traction, and everyone we definitely continued to load stuff to it. I think Instagram took a took a, you know, people could suddenly, at one stage with Pinterest, you could link your products to shops and people were transacting. And then suddenly Instagram did that. So now you can do so much on Instagram. People were finding, oh, I can't manage. If I'm building a house and I want to share it with my architect and, you know, put information, people using it for that sort of collaboration stuff. But not, as I said, I'm certainly not a master to give the right advice on this, but it might be making a comeback. I'm not aware of anything big coming across my screen other than when I went on to load up your stuff was probably the first time I've been back into Pinterest in 3 or 4 years, and I used to be there. So I'd need to do a bit of, I can ask my social media team and get some feedback, but we're certainly not, we're not in that place for any of our, we're not getting TikTok, I would say, if there's anything that I need to get with clients, even dental clients, where people are going, no, it's more, you know, dentists around the world are on TikTok, and kids are saying to their parents, Mom, I want that toothbrush. So I'm seeing TikTok as a powerful thing to grips with.
Yeah, that's a good thing to actually add onto this, because I mean TikTok's just going crazy at the moment. So and then I mean I don't use Twitter, but you know I just think you
should. I think you should.
Do you?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
I do. I think Twitter from a business. I mean, I don't, and again, it's just purely because it does take a lot of time, and I think if I need, I would jump into that to build new business. But I think you should, and just, you know, and for interacting with people, but from a business perspective and the business people you're wanting to connect with, just follow them. Just before you meet people, go on, follow them, start, you know, and any, because you're putting a lot of great information out and articles. You know, whatever you do on LinkedIn, I would just duplicate on Twitter.
On Twitter,
treat them with a very similar tone of voice.
Yeah.
I mean, Twitter. A lot of people use Twitter. Like my 20-year-old, he is on Twitter and Instagram, and TikTok, and he uses Twitter for all his news. You know, and he's ahead of the game. I mean, when that whole Facebook went down, within seconds he came in and he said, it's this, and I'm like, where did you get that? And he said Twitter. And I mean, if something's happening at Chelsea, you know, and it's literally just been announced at the the Chelsea Stadium, he will know instantly, and that's Twitter. So from a news, being up to date with news, and when the world is crumbling, that's where people go to get the news. They go to Twitter.
So Julie, that would also be a really good one for you to be on.
No, Twitter. No, I'm very much active on. Well, I'm not active on Twitter, but I'm on Twitter like all the time. I go there to follow up on stuff. And my clients are on Twitter as well, so I get to see what they're up to, and you know, especially the political ones, because I do have a political client base. So I use Twitter more than anything else.
Okay. So I mean, for you to be actually posting on there and doing the same thing as what Paul is saying to me, you know, around taking your LinkedIn content and just duplicating it onto Twitter, because you know, you are a thought leader in your industry. You've got a finger on the pulse around what's happening with SARS, what's happening with, you know, compliance, etc. So you know, to actually build a following there would also be great. And then you know, obviously YouTube, I don't know much about Vimeo or Vimeo. You know, YouTube I think is just, I just find it always useful to just put my videos on YouTube, because there's always that link through, then I can just link people to my content really easily. But what's really interesting to notice is that on the algorithms on LinkedIn, anytime that you put a link in a LinkedIn post that is taking people off of the platform, the algorithm cuts your exposure. So, you know, so if you're posting on LinkedIn to actually upload the video or upload the pic, don't send people off of the, you know, off of the platform. And then obviously looking at, your content. So consistently, your articles or blog posting or vlogging, these step-by-step infographics that make people's lives easier. That's really where we wanted to be, making our clients' lives easier. Beautiful high resolution image quotes, any PDFs and ebooks, assessments and quizzes, reposts from, influencer sites, and regular podcasting. And, I've just found Kajabi as a platform is so amazing because it actually allows you to do all of these things on one platform. So, just to put that out there, if that is something that you are wanting to start doing, it doesn't matter what business and you don't have to be in a coaching business in order to do it. You can be consulting or, running online courses, and it's just been a very, very user-friendly platform as well. And then obviously wanting to build up public image. So, any appearances on TV shows or radio shows, being interviewed, publishing articles. The minute you've actually written an article and it's been put somewhere, you can now say that you're a published author. So just, in terms of building that credibility and that trust, if you can speak on a big stage or go and, do a talk on somebody else's stage, that's really great. And then building out, if you want to, celebrity status and doing like high profile appearances. And then consistency across, social media posting, online group discussions, share comments and like updated profile information, live streaming from events. I could kick myself because I forgot to actually click on the live streaming on my webinar yesterday. Putting together expert reports and newsletters, hosting webinars, and then running high price competitions. So, these are also things that you don't have to like look at and think, oh my God, I've got like all of these things to do. It's to pick, one or two from each of these different categories and really focus on it. So it's better to do LinkedIn really, really well than try and do LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, and do none of them really well. So to be thinking about where are your clients sitting? Your clients are sitting on Instagram or on Facebook or LinkedIn, and really focus on those platforms. So do you have any questions or any comments about this? Is there anything that you want to just, any thoughts or anything that's come up for you in relation to your own businesses around this?
Yeah, I think from my side, it's the consistency is the big thing. And I go through these phases where I'm like, I get into it and then I'm posting and things are happening, and then then there's your attention gets shifted somewhere else, and then the posting becomes it just dries up. And then also the other thing is that it's dependent on actual projects. I mean, in the past, I've had weeks where, maybe it's just building up to something and then there's like 3 things in a row, and then that's also contributes to not being consistent. But what I found is now, like with Meta's created this this new workspace, which is or suite, which now is also a big thing amongst the various large corporations like Google Suites and Meta. But anyways, it does allow for the scheduling of posts to build in consistency. And there was also a discussion that I had with Bronwyn, is like, if you put in some time, even if it's once a month, to develop content for that month and then have it scheduled, that takes a lot of strain off you when things are hectic. So it's almost like what you would do with maybe your budgeting or whatever. You would just spend a half a day or a day just doing all the posts for the month. Because consistency is something I'm really poor at, and being able to have that right across multiple platforms. I mean, for customers, it definitely is more of the social media type spaces at this point. I think LinkedIn is a bit beyond where I'm at, but I mean, it's still important for me to keep that up to date. And then, yeah, just actually getting to grips with something like TikTok, where I know it's a much younger audience for the most part, and that would help me grow, particularly in a new market that I'm not necessarily familiar with. I think it's easier for me to sell to more middle age, more established people, business wise, life wise, than to youngsters. And I think there is likely a good market to tap into with the younger crowd, particularly with just the access to information and lifestyle and health that I need to be playing on. So yeah, just something.
Yeah. Oh, great. Good. Yeah, and I think that's, I've actually started doing that now as well. I think it's really useful to do that, is to have a theme for the month. And you can always add extra photos in. So create that content. And, the interesting thing is it doesn't always have to be your own content. It can be other people's content that you're sharing. It can be you going for a walk and taking a photo of a protea bush and, talking about something around the soil that it's growing in. Do you know what I mean? It doesn't always have to be focused on your exact project that you're
Sure.
working on. And I think that's also what's just, expanded this whole thing around where you're wanting to give people access to you, access to your authenticity, access to who you are, access to what you care about. And so, just sharing as much of your lifestyle as you can is also very, very powerful. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, thanks. It's even worth, what I'm doing as well is just capturing moments, basically banking photos and ideas and stuff, and then building on that. So yeah, but I like it. It doesn't always have to be related to actually specific projects. So yeah. Thanks.
Cool. Okay, so let's have a look now at the money train, because this is going to just help you to decipher and decide how you're actually going to drive that sales funnel. Do you guys want to have a break before we hop into this? Or shall we jump in?
Yes,
okay.
Please. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Suddenly just felt, woo, there goes the energy. Okay, so it's 9:25. Let's reconnect in 10 minutes at 10:25. Okay.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Going to
Okay, welcome back, everybody. So I'm just going to actually hop into a little mini presentation here around what some of the ways are to start to build out that sales funnel. So when we talk about the money train, what we're looking at doing is the money train has got various carriages. So the first carriage in the money train is your leads carriage. And this is really having an understanding of where your clients are hanging out and how you can put yourself into the same areas that they are in. So for example, if you're looking at canvassing your clients on LinkedIn, we've spoken about this profile builder, you know what to do around that. You just need to go and actually action that. But when it comes to making a list of your potential clients and creating, and you can just do this on Excel, and this is what I literally did in my business last year, which allowed me to gain the kind of traction and reach that tipping point where my business was sustainable and I have had consistent client and cash flow coming through my business. And we often don't think about who we already know that can actually go onto that leads list. So looking at, your mobile, who just going through your cell phone and having a look at those contacts. There might be people sitting on your cell phone that you haven't connected with for years, but they are sitting in your exact niche. Same with your emails, just go back and have a look through your email list and having a look at who's sitting in that email list that is also sitting in your niche, and just start to create a spreadsheet or whatever it is that you want to use, a CRM, if you're using a CRM, of those potential clients that are sitting in your niche. Then going on to LinkedIn and putting in LinkedIn keywords. So, LinkedIn is absolutely brilliant. So if I'm wanting to work with maybe, solopreneurs, I don't really want to work with people, I'm just using this as an example, that have got like massive businesses. I can actually type in there, solopreneur. I know that I'm going to America, so I want to connect with people that are in the States. So I can type in Reno, or I can type in conscious leader, or I can type in leadership coach. Any of these keywords in LinkedIn are suddenly going to just give you this massive list of potential clients that are sitting in your niche markets. And you can do the same thing on Facebook. You can connect with people on Facebook, typing in those keywords. I just find LinkedIn as being, for my particular business, for your business, Jules, for your parts of your business as well, Louise, Alex, you as well. It's like people who are conscious, who are wanting to eat more consciously. There's a whole big movement around it that you can be tapping into, that you can use keywords on LinkedIn, and you just pull all of those names and you actually put them into a spreadsheet. And this is grunt work. I remember sitting in sales meetings when I was like at Nashua on a flipping Monday morning with my leads list. But you know what? That's actually the bottom line. That's what we need to do. And then it's looking at what are some, so it's then inviting them to connect. So, it's inviting them to become friends with you on Facebook, or it's inviting them to like your Facebook page, or even better, to join your Facebook group where you're going to be posting, posting content, etc., onto that group, and you start to have a conversation with them. And I've been quite blown away on LinkedIn by the number of people who have responded to conversational questions that I've posted on LinkedIn. So say, for example, I take 10 or 15 or 20 people per week that I want to connect with, and start to connect with them. Because also, if you suddenly just like spam everybody on LinkedIn that you want to connect with them, it's going to boot you off. So I think you can't connect with more than like 100 people at a time. And just say to them as part of the connection, I'm really interested in finding this out. How you expect, Julie, is your business compliant? Did you know that there's these 2 or 3 things that you can do? Or are you having as much issue with SARS as my other businesses are? Whatever. You start having a conversation with them. And not all of them are going to reply, but those that do, you then start to engage with them. And then you're going to be moving them. Once you've started that conversation and you've started to engage with them, you're going to be moving them into the trust carriage. So, you can connect with people by inviting them to webinars, masterminds. You can meet them if you're on stage. I was listening to this podcast by this woman who started Boss Babes, and she was on Instagram. And before she launched any product, he built this massive community on Instagram. So where you can also go and have a look at the people that are already following you and start having a conversation with them based on the research that you've done. Oh, I see you're interested in this. Have you seen this? Or have you heard this? Or so you can also help them with micro content. So just putting out those little bits, those little pieces of micro content that we spoke about earlier. You know, it's how, where's the best place for protea to grow? What's the soil? How much sun? You know, those are little micro content things. If you want to grow your own vegetables, you know, this is what you need to be, the 3 steps that you need to be doing. So thinking about really, really stepping into your client's shoes and thinking about what are the challenges that they've got, what are the challenges they are faced with, what is their big fat problem that you can solve for them before you even start to think about going in for the sale. And then obviously also looking at other service providers that you can partner with that have your potential clients already in the ecosystem, and meet up with them and have a chat with them and see if there's something that you can partner with them on doing. Then having a look at these, what are the 5 ways that you can build trust? So this is a very, very easy to work through blueprint that is going to help your client to build more trust with you. So obviously the first one is, and I've asked all of you guys for testimonials, and I really appreciate it if you could pop those through. Thanks, Alex, for sending yours. Is to have testimonials of people who've worked, you know, you've done work for. And if you're starting out and you don't have any testimonials, like Alex, if you're here in Cape Town and you know you're starting out, then just ask Paula and myself to give you testimonials. You know, you've done work for us. You've got to have those testimonials out there. Like I said, trust is a big, big issue at the moment. People don't trust what you say about yourself, but they will trust what other people are saying about you. So, you know, Louise, when you're at one of your wine tasting things, which I know Cheryl had an absolute blast at, Cheryl and Ian, ask people, can I just shoot a quick video of you standing there with your wine? How's the evening been? I mean, people are happy to do that. So happy. You've got them like live there in person. I mean, one of my other clients has got a bodyboarding business. I mean, he shot this brilliant testimonial of this client. He came out of the water. This client was on this massive high. He just caught his like first awesome wave. And he was like, oh my God, this is the best thing that's ever happened. You've got to come and do this. Like that kind of energy is gold. It's gold. So get those testimonials up. And then the second element of that is results. So to share, you know, what are the actual real results that you've got as a result of coming, say, for example, on the Business Brilliance program. You know, has it grown sales? Has it grown brand awareness? How much by? So this is really where you're wanting to be quoting numbers. You know, how much money did you save your client, Julie, when, you know, they hired you to get their business's management accounts sorted out? Alex, how much money did you save your clients because they paid for seedlings and they're now not going and buying their lettuce from Woolworths? You know, all of those kinds of things. What are those actual results? Paula, what are those results that you got from your clients engaging with you and hiring you to bring that expertise into their business? Then the third element, which we've spoken about, is to give them unlimited access. Now, that doesn't mean that you're going to suddenly like become available to, you know, 500,000 people on LinkedIn, but it's to give them unlimited access to some of your products. So, you know, maybe that's giving them access to you via a webinar, or access to you via a group call or a hotel coffee, or sending them an assessment so that they can actually test out one of your products. Any of those things, you know, Alex, this info pack that you're putting together, where they feel like they've got access to you. So, you know, I've got a 30-minute free intro call, because I'm not actually going to work with people that I haven't done an intro call with, because I'm always going to want to check whether this is a client that I actually want to work with. So, you know, that's giving them unlimited access to me. It's saying, right, I'm going to actually put aside this time to connect with you. And then the fourth element of that is building a sense of safety and security. So here, that's where you are showing up as your authentic self. You're showing up consistently. You're giving them a glimpse into your lifestyle or into your business. And you're building that safety for them, that they can trust you. So, you know, if I'm putting out a post on health and energy is everything, and then the next minute they see me, you know, working with a client that is toxic in the environment, they're not going to feel particularly safe. So it's also around that consistency and allowing them to see who you are, allowing them to see your vulnerability, allowing them to see that you're a human, sharing your story with them, why you do what you do, and giving them that access. And then the fifth thing is that tangible thing that we've already spoken about in terms of your positioning. What tangible product or service can you give them that is going to be multi-sensory? So, you know, that could be just meeting them with at a hotel coffee. I know, like, one of the things that I did that really stuck in one of my clients' minds was I found out that it was the CEO's birthday. And so I went to Cassis and I went and I bought him and the team these beautiful, beautiful little birthday special cakes from Cassis. It's not just, you know, like an average cupcake. And it was something tangible. It had nothing to do with my business, but it was a tangible thing that they got left with. And like we've spoken about already, you know, a book, coffee, you know, anything that's going to, it could be a beautiful corporate gift or a planner or a diary, whatever it is, that's going to give them a sense of you in the physical world. So that's also a great thing to do. That's going to build trust. And then, you know, also, if you're going to take a client to a meeting, make sure that you're meeting them in the kind of environment that is in alignment with your brand and what it is that you're going to be doing with them. So I don't meet people, you know, in a coffee shop. If I'm meeting them for the first time, I'll go and meet them at somewhere really beautiful, you know, like one of the stunning hotels in Newlands, and just meet them there or at the waterfront, as opposed to like a coffee shop. So do you have any questions around this, or do you want me to keep going and then we'll hop into questions afterwards? We good?
Yeah, all good. Heather, are you going to be able to share this at the end?
Yeah, I will.
Okay.
So,
lovely, thank you.
So this is when you are, if you think about your money train, this is in this connection step on my flow code or on my business sales brilliance on that blueprint. This is the connection element. It's the trust carriage on the money train. This is where you're wanting to build trust with your clients, and that you're helping them to trust you. And what you're doing by doing all of this as well is that you are overcoming objections before you get to the sale. So this really allows you to answer any of their questions, overcome objections in this stage before you've even got to doing the sale. Then we move into this cultivate stage. And this is really where you are practicing love strategies. I'm gonna come now. Move out the way. You're practicing your love strategies here. So you've built trust with your clients, you've started to engage with them, and you're now going to move them into this cultivate step or into the love carriage on the money train. And there's various different ways of doing this. So here you're going to be, your relationship with them is like this little seedling. It's just starting to blossom. And now you want to cultivate it, you want to pour water on it, you want to feed that soil so that that relationship really grows. So here you're going to look at how can you help them to solve some of the problems that they have got. What are the problems that they're facing, and how can you help solve it? So maybe you can share some micro content with them that's going to make them feel loved. Maybe you can give them an assessment that is going to help them address a problem in their business, or actually to see what that problem is. anything that you can do that is going to help them to solve the problem that they are facing, that you're going to share with them, the 5 steps to get your business compliant, the 5 ways to handle, putting your property on the market, Louise. Any of these things that you can do that's going to help your client to solve problems. And then you're going to go beyond that and you're going to actually add value. So what are some of the ways that you can add value to your clients? You can maybe go in and do a business assessment. Alex, you can go and do an assessment of their current garden situation and write a little report for them. Louise, you can go and have a look at their property and give them a 10 key checklist for them to get their property ready to put on, go onto the market, or give them free, wine samples, or the latest wine guide, anything like that that is going to add value to them and is going to make them feel, wow, I can't believe this person has gone out of the way to add so much value. It's the reason why after I've done a webinar, which is a trust building strategy, one of my love strategies in cultivating that relationship afterwards is I send people the deck, or I'll even send people the recording if they've asked for it. Now this is a lot of IP that I'm sharing with people, but I know that the likelihood of them going and doing all of this without me actually being part of the coaching them to do it is unlikely. So I don't mind sharing this stuff with them, because it's adding value, and maybe they're going to just take one thing out of it and they're going to go and apply it in their business. And when it starts to work, they're going to go, wow, that was amazing. Let me connect, with Heather, and I'm going to continue, obviously, now that I've got their contact details, to communicate with them. And then, then making it matter. So really making them feel like they matter. So, one of my other clients, often they love to cook. So what he'll do is he will actually cook a gourmet meal for a client. And what he'll do is he will invite other people to that meal. Paula, you're brilliant at doing this, where you introduce other people to that potential client. So you haven't even signed them up as a client yet, but because you're building that relationship with them, you are connecting them with people that you're giving them introductions to other people that maybe are going to help them in their business, that are going to help them in their life, are going to help them financially, maybe they're financial planners, whatever it is. So it's really taking it to that deeper level and really making them feel like they matter, that they're not just in your community, you're not just spamming them with general information, but you've actually thought about them and you have thought about what would help them in their business, in their lives, and you've now delivered that to them. So that's something that's really powerful. And also when you're taking them out for a coffee, like I said, if you're taking them out for a coffee, make sure that it's in a beautiful place. Paula, what's that hotel in Newlands that's become my local new place?
The Vineyard.
Yeah. So I take people to the Vineyard. We sit on the patio. It's so stunning. So they know that they're going to be paying a premium for my services. I'm not taking them to, the little coffee shop down the road. And then, building this authentic relationship is around you also sharing your story. So you being willing to be open-hearted, communicating to them from a heart level and really connecting with them. And also out of this process, really getting to know them is for you also to decide whether you want to do business with them or not. So investing in this particular area, this cultivating and building out these love strategies is also giving you insight as to whether you actually want to do business with them. Because maybe you don't want to do business with everybody. And you also want to be in business with clients that are aligned with your values and that are going to treat you well and treat you with respect. So any questions or comments on that, on those trust building strategies, on the love strategies? And I want you to start to be thinking now, of your pipeline. So, you know, here you've got your 100 clients sitting there. What you're going to be working, you know, 10 of them at a time into these trust strategies. Then you're going to be taking maybe, you know, 5 or 6 of those 10 into those love strategies. And then you're going to be deciding out of that who it is that you're going to be actually pitching to. And I'm going to share the actual ways to start that pitch now. So any questions or comments around it you have? I mean, any thoughts that you've had, like what would maybe one of your trust building strategies be? I'd like to hear from each of you one trust building strategy and one love strategy.
Well, just a quick comment, but it's like, I mean, this process is almost like interviewing for a new employee in a way. I mean, you just sort of filtering through it, and it worked quite nicely because you obviously end up with the client that you want to work with and enjoy working with, which is really cool. But I think it also, in a way, you just thinking of like the levels of your product offering. I mean, I guess this the money train will still apply to each of those levels, but I guess this is more going into those the Grand Slam. I mean, particularly like a Grand Slam offering where you're giving the most time and effort into this. I mean, not to say that you can't do it on like a base level, because I mean you would still go through a similar process, but maybe just not as sort of granular in detail or generous of time and resources.
So I mean, you would still have the same sales funnel. So if you think of this as a sales funnel, so if you have a look at I don't have it on this one, but if you're thinking of this in terms of a sales funnel, then you've got your potential clients. Now those might be your 500 followers on Instagram, for example. Okay, and you're thinking now, okay, you wanting to start to connect with them, to start to build that relationship with them. So you could put a little 5 steps process. Simple. It doesn't have to be like a little 5-step infographic on LinkedIn. I mean, on Instagram, that would be a trust building strategy. Then you're going to see who you're getting comments from, who's engaged with it. You know, you can start to have a look at who's engaged with it, and then you directly connect with those people and see what love strategies you can then give them. So that might still even be a bulk in bulk, where it's not necessarily, you know, you interviewing them, but you're now going to give them a little bit more. They've engaged, and also what you're wanting to do is, obviously you're going to get, in order for them to get the PDF, the next PDF on the love strategy, then they need to go and sign up, and you need to get the email address. So you've delivered content now, you've made, you know, you've added value, you've started to build that trust with what you're sharing. And now what you're doing is you're asking them for something in exchange for that. And that is their email address. So to get the love strategy elements, they do need to exchange some information with you. And then once you've got the email address, obviously that's an opt-in, and they can then start to receive your monthly newsletter or your weekly newsletter, or they can go into a sales journey, an automated sales journey that is an email journey that you've put together. So you're going to apply the strategy no matter what the offering is.
Okay.
Yep. But obviously you're not going to go and have a 3-hour interview with somebody who wants to buy your online course. You know, you're going to maybe send them a video of you. Jules, what would be some, maybe like a trust strategy from your part and a love strategy?
Yeah, I'm thinking.
Paula, what do you think would be some good love or trust strategies?
Sort of trying to work out put my head into one of the different businesses, and I'm trying to put it into the new one because I know what I would do with the old one, which works.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I was just thinking, like, just to have my businesses sort of play into each other as well. I mean, with new customers that are coming on board, you know, sometimes I've got people that have got just one property. Sometimes it's people that have got, you know, 4 or 5. And that's obviously clients or the 6 properties, whatever it is. You know, one of the things that Odd One Out does is put together these beautiful gift boxes as well.
Yeah.
You don't have to go for like massive ones, but to you know, maybe one and, you know, something to say thank you and, you know, welcome to Louise's property management as my new customer. So definitely that from love. I mean, the testimonials, videoing people at our wine tastings, God, I can't believe I've missed that one, but I'm really excited to do that going forward.
Yeah.
And then also to build trust as well, like you said, maybe the referrals for my distribution from existing clients as well, to get little, you know, maybe just a little referral video as well, pass on to other places. I mean, I always try to be on first name basis with people. I want them to know me and I want to know who they are, so that when I'm talking about, you know, Jose from Bedfordview Spa and the manager at, you know, the Bel Air Spa contacts him, he can remember me as well. So maybe to leave something behind as well, where they remember.
Cool.
And
even if people don't want to do a video, what I do is I make just like a little business card. So I obviously ask them permission to use their picture, which I normally just take off of LinkedIn. And I just create like a little business card. So a picture of them and then the recommendation that they have next to it, that they've given. So just so that it's you know, it's not just you making up some story. It's got a face to a name. It's got, I mean, obviously you just need to make sure people have given you permission to do that. So yeah. P?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot of testimonials from PWMC, which I do use. I also do have a printed book of campaigns and coverage that I take with me, and that's pretty much what I've used. And I do, for my new business, my sort of main sales kit, I think, is some very basic return on investment type stats showing where the client was over a certain period, how they growed over a certain amount of time, and what their return on investment was over a certain period of time, and how we judge that. And that is, I mean, those are quite easy for me to sell in. And I also agree with you. I also do one-on-one meetings in wonderful places.
Yeah.
And you know, one of the things that has always worked for me is to give, especially clients who are maybe I will give them the contact details of some really key clients, and I'll say give them a call. And those are clients who've agreed to that. And I've said, you know, I can give you rant and rave and give you all this, but why don't you give, you know, the he's the CEO of whatever. He's be very happy to pick up, you know, I'll WhatsApp him and just tell him you're going to call. Be straight and honest with him. You know, he's not a friend, he's a business client, and just ask him. And I must say that's always clinched my deals when I'm I'm trying to close a deal, a sale. But yeah, I've got lots of examples of successful campaigns. We used to do lots of that. But as I said, I don't really have any tangible stuff for the new business, even though we have done elements of that in the other marketing business with the new, obviously now with the online learning management platform, lots and lots that's there, and I can easily take them through a virtual tour of and give them an idea of what we do and what they can expect to receive. So it's normally quite a visual element, whether it's on a Zoom or a big screen in a meeting. But yeah, I'm not really doing any, as I said, I'm not really building on emails and stuff, just because for me, as I said, if I have 3 or 4 clients, then that's enough. So my marketing is very more one-on-one. It's more, okay, I'm going to phone this person. This is the sort of, so it's very direct marketing, and it might change down the line if I'm going to scale, but at this stage I don't want to scale into that thinking. But what is helpful, all this information that you're giving, is more helpful for my clients,
exactly,
than me. So I'm going to implement it more with my business and my clients' activity than for my own business.
No, that's great. No, good. Jules?
I think on the trust strategy, which has worked, is having my current clients on the website. A lot of people that are looking at taking me on are actually going to the website and actually phoning the current clients there. So obviously, clients that I have there, I've got their permission. I think there's only 1 or 2 at the moment. But so I've gotten 1 or 2 clients just from that. So I think speaking to other clients about my performance and whatnot, especially in the industry, trusting is a big thing. Also dependent on the type of, I've got a couple of clients that I have full access to bank accounts for and whatnot. So if they were looking for that, then then there's those other clients that I also do the same thing for, that they can. So it's also just referrals and speaking to people that work with me. So, but I think the website helps big, because I don't even know half the time that they're phoning their clients until they come back to me. Amazing. They like that. I think in the industry, because I haven't given them somebody, that they've just phoned somebody that they've chosen. Kind of also just, so that works. And then the love strategy, I struggle with that. It's difficult in the industry. But what I find that the clients really appreciate and tell me they love me for it is when there's something that's changed, and it's difficult to do, but I try my best is to try and stay on top of what SARS is up to, and what changes legislation, and just sending them an email and pre-warning them, and advising them that they must maybe just keep this in mind, and we should strategize beforehand. So I think it's basically information ahead of time, and setting them up so that they don't fail like many people are.
So one of the things that you can do around that as well is to send that to prospective clients. Just hang on a second. Can you just? I just need to shout something to Katie, because it's started raining here, and I need her to bring the washing off the line. Just hold on.
Shout away.
I'm watching the clouds blow over his house. there's still a lot of sun here, but
okay, well, it's not going to be lasting too long.
I can see it coming in quick. It's blowing in like crazy. I'm gonna have to probably move inside.
So Jules, just to think about maybe passing that on, to prospective clients as a love strategy. Like, you don't actually have to take the time to do it, but you are. And, that's something that Nikki can actually send out personally to all of your contacts on LinkedIn.
Yeah. I know she's bugging me for something to send to all of them.
Yeah, so like in a message, she can actually send them in a message to say latest update, like news flash. And that's a great love strategy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good idea. Okay, I made a note of it. Excuse me. Thank you.
Great. Okay. So any questions or anything before we start to talk about actually the psychology of the sale and how we can, what are some of the questions that we need to be asking our clients before we pitch to them? And then I'm also going to take you through the sales pitch deck. And this is a very powerful way of putting together a sales presentation. And it doesn't have to be a boardroom presentation. I mean, this can be for any of you to go and apply in your own businesses. So any questions around this? Are you feeling clear? Cool. So let me just make sure I've got the right screen up here now. Okay, so let me just quickly, okay. Sorry, I just need to find the other one of this because this one is for the print version and it's on its side. Which is not going to be very helpful.
Should be back.
It's just loading. Okay. So these are brilliant questions, obviously to make them your own and not, this isn't like a I mean, it is a formula, but it's not, it's for you to actually make this your own. Is when you are moving out, you've now built trust, you've built love, and you are going to, that you're going to be pitching this client. These are very, very good questions to ask them when you are having that hotel coffee with them or you're meeting with them, in order to know what it is that you want to be including in your presentation. And so the very first question that you're wanting to be asking is, why did you decide to have this meeting with me? Or why did you want to, hop on this call? Why, any why question around why it was that they wanted to connect with you. And they can, they might say something to you, well, I saw your webinar, or I saw this thing and I just thought, that it would be great to connect with you. But it's really, you're going to be taking them on a little bit of a journey here. And you want to know why they've connected with you. They need help with their garden. They need help with selling their house. They need help with whatever their branding. Then to refine that question and say, what specifically are you hoping that I can do for you today? Or what specifically are you looking for? What specific outcomes are you thinking about at the moment? Anything that's going to give you specifics in terms of what it is that you can actually do for them. And that might even be in the meeting. So, very often people will come to me and they'll say to me, okay, well, I need help with my business strategy. And that's why I'm actually having this meeting with you today. And once you've got that specific, you can then ask them, so this is where you're going to take them out of where they are right now and you future pacing, you're putting them into the future. In an ideal world, and you're obviously writing or you're capturing this in some point, in an ideal world, where are you in 12 months from now? So here you're getting them to create a little bit of a picture of where it is that they want to be in 12 months time. And then you're going to ask them what would make life or business easier for you right now. So what is going to create some ease for you right now? What do you think would make an impact right now? And this is all information that is going to help you when you're putting together your sales pitch deck. So they might say, oh, like I need more team, Paula. That's what's going to make Paula's life easier right now. What's going to make Alex's life easier right now is having somebody doing his social media strategy. You know, those are things that are going to make each of your lives easier right now. And then asking them, what do you feel are the top 3 issues that are holding you back? So I know from our conversation earlier, one of Jules's top issues, you know, is just time management is holding her back. It could be budgets. It could be, you know, underperforming staff. It could be that you don't know where to start in your garden. It could be, you know, some people who are coming on the Sales Brilliance Bootcamp could be saying, I'm not a salesperson. I don't know how to sell. So, you know, it's you want to know what those top 3 issues are, and you're going to see why later on. Then you're going to ask them, like, what have you done to fix this before? Okay, well, I've hired a coach, or, you know, I've hired a social media person previously and they really just didn't get my brand. I'm speaking from my own personal experience, you know, any of those things. So you wanting to find out what have they done before, because it obviously hasn't worked. So you want to bring in, when you're doing your pitch, why your product or your service or your expertise is going to be different to what it is that they've done before. And then you want to get a measure of their commitments. And like I'm saying, you don't need to be like doing this by rote. This is these are conversational guidelines that you're going to be directing your conversation with. You know, and then you could say on a scale from 0 to 10, how committed are you to fixing this? You know, so I'll often say, well, I know you've tried all of these things. You must be feeling a little quite frustrated. Has that left you feeling more committed to actually sorting it out, or are you feeling a little bit overwhelmed? So, you know, you don't need to do it in exactly the rote words, but these are just themes that you want to put out there. Then you're going to ask them, what sort of budget do you have to fix these problems? Because, you know, it's pointless going and pitch them your Grand Slam offer when they've got 500 Rand to go and to spend on sorting their garden out. So this is what you need to know in order to provide them with the solution that's either your baseline solution, your stretch product, or your Grand Slam product. But number 9 is a very, very important question, because, you know, some people might say, well, like, I don't really have a budget, so I haven't thought about it, or, you know, I haven't put it into my budget allowance for this year. And then number 9 is what do you think is the cost of not fixing these problems? And I'll often say to a client, have you ever thought about, you know, we're so busy focused on return on investment and how much it's going to cost you to fix these problems, but we don't often think about what is the cost of not fixing these problems. What is the cost to your business of having underperforming staff? What is the cost to your business of, you know, not having a proper brand strategy and somebody who's actually implementing that on your behalf? What is the cost of not, you know, having your own edible organic garden and you going and spending thousands and thousands of Rand, sorry, Woolworths, you know, at Woolies every week? And then you say, your last question is, would it be okay with you if I can share how I can serve you, or how our business can help you, or the synergy that's in the business? And you don't actually do your presentation here. So this is in that love building strategy arena. You're not actually going in after you've asked these 10 questions into the pitch, because you want to be able to go and prepare your pitch so that when you're pitching to them, you're speaking directly to the heart of these things. Where are you in 12 months' time? What's going to make your life easier? You're going to speak about the top 3 issues. and how your offering is going to address that. So do you have any questions around these 10 sales questions that you want any clarity on? And I'll often just sit with them if I'm having a call with a client and I'm online with them, I'll just actually have those 10 questions just up, just so that I'm tracking, keeping track of the conversation. Otherwise, if it's in person, I obviously just kind of, I know it and I make it part of the conversation. It's obviously not like, why, what, in an ideal world, so that the person feels like they're on the spot. Cool. Any questions? You're all good.
Just quickly about the budgeting, because I think that's where a lot of the time, I mean, I get stuck, and I presume it applies to a lot of business owners and us.
Yeah.
Is if a lot of the boxes are being ticked in many other places, but then the budget is, and I mean, it's obviously very crucial, but I mean, it's quite clear that that person is not willing to spend what it would take to reach their needs or meet their needs. I mean, what do you think is a good strategy to apply at that point? I mean, either, something that comes into mind is maybe is maybe like building them to that point where they can see or have be able to set that budget aside. So maybe it's a time thing that you could then revisit in a few months' time, prepping them that for example, that there is a need to spend more than what they envisage would or need or think that they actually have to spend on that. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, what any other strategies around that on how to approach it?
So sometimes I use. I mean, obviously, like I'm saying, you're not going through this by rote. If I've got a sense that a client is going to be resistant to having the budget conversation in this, I won't have it. So if I've got a client who's like a little bit edgy, or I've just got like a little bit of a sense of it, I will, I might just leave that question out and just, ask them, what do you think is the cost of fixing these problems? Or I might switch number 8 and number 9 around. Because often when they've thought about what it's costing them, then suddenly the budget becomes bigger. So you can play around with this, you've got to also just make it work for you. And often people will say to me, like, I don't really have a budget. And I'll say to them,
that's exactly.
I'll say to them, why, if this is obviously a big issue for you, why have you not thought about putting a budget aside? What's blocked you from actually allocating some funds to it? So that they start to actually think about it. Sure, like I should be thinking about this. And then you could say, like, given that you on this, you've had this realization and that it is going to cost X amounts of money, why don't let me share with you how I can serve you, and then we can put a plan together on working up to, the full Monty of what it is that you want. But we can always just start off small, where you can start off with my online course, or you can join my community for $29 a month, or, whatever it is, that's your entry level thing. But you want to get them to the point where you're going to be able to actually pitch them. So this is obviously, I mean, these are guidelines. So you've got to, but they're very powerful questions to ask. This thing, like, what do you feel are the top 3 issues that are holding you back? That can turn into a whole coaching session, because nobody's actually asked them. And suddenly they face, well, like, I can't believe I'm so stressed, my family or my time or my dog, or, it's, and so you're building that connection with them. You're not just jumping in to say, oh, these are the benefits of my, of my product. Cool. Any questions? Louise?
Yes. So I definitely want to print this out, but do you have a version that's slightly less colorful? Otherwise I can copy and paste it out.
Yeah, just copy and paste it out.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yeah. Cool. So what I want to share with you now is actually the framework for putting together a really, really awesome, an awesome pitch deck. And then I'm going to give you some time to just work together and to just like do a very rough map of what you would have sitting under each of these slides in your pitch deck at this point in time. Because I also want us to just start to do a little bit of work in the session, so it's not just leaving homework. So in your first slide, you are going to do an alpha introduction, and this is a positioning slide. So this is really where you are going to elevate yourself. You're going to elevate your brand. You're going to elevate your business, and you're going to like really wow them with this alpha introduction. So that is, you know, what associations are you a member of? What results have you got? Who are you? So, you know, when I talk about this, I talk about being a part of the circle of excellence, which gives me access to, you know, globally tested entrepreneur intelligence and information. There's only like 220 experts in the world that are part of this group. I'll talk about the fact that I part-time lecture at the UCT Graduate School of Business. So it's giving me positioning. And what you're actually doing here is you are elevating yourself in the room. So, you know, this might be, it can be like small things, like where you're standing in the room. So you go and you like literally stand where the CEO is, or you ask the CEO, if you are in a like a boardroom pitch, you ask the CEO, you give him a little thing to read out and introduce you. Because by having the CEO introduce you, you already having authority and positioning. So that's you elevating yourself. Then on slide 2, you're now going to bring yourself down to connect with them at a heart level. And this is where the element of storytelling comes in. So this is where you share a little bit about your story. So I'll share here about, you know, the fact that I know how painful it is as an entrepreneur to lose a business. And that's why I have gone on this whole mission for the last, you know, 6-7 years to get the very best entrepreneur education so that I can share that with my clients, that it's the, you know, it's taken me from owing like massive sums of money to the tipping points in my business, applying all these strategies that I'm going to be sharing with you today, that I can now, you know, I traveled overseas last year. I took my business global, able to buy a house. So I understand where you are and the frustration that you're feeling. And so you share the story. So, you know, this can be your own journey. You can share some of the stories of your client's journey and really connect with them on a heart level. So you've gone from being up to above them, like, wow, you're on this pedestal, but you don't want to stay on the pedestal. You want to bring yourself down now and connect with them on that heart level. Then in slide number 3, you are going to talk about the big fat problem, which is what they shared with you in your 10 sales questions. But now you've given some thought to it, and you're going to be sharing your unique perspective on that big fat problem. So, you know, understanding their challenges, understanding that you know, time is an issue, money is an issue, team is an issue, whatever it is that they've said to you. And you're going to talk about that from your own unique perspective. So if you have a look here, I'll just do this very quick. I'll hop into this. Can you see the slide deck, or can you see the slide deck? No.
Yeah, no, it's all fine.
Oh, you can. Okay. So this is the intro. There's me doing my alpha positioning, founder, developer, 26 trusted mentor, clients, all my stamps of, where things I belong to, things I've studied. So elevating myself. Then I tell my story, and I'm also here addressing the big fat problem. So the big fat problem here is that the number one reason for business failure globally is low sales and cash flow. So here you're bringing that into your deck, and you can see that it's quite visual. So here you're wanting to you've gone from stats and things over here, or message over here, to bang. This is like, oh my God, you want your business to be like one of these businesses that's crashing in like this airplane, going out of business, etc. So you're actually making this quite hectic. And then you're going to go, so you're giving your own unique perspective there on it. So I'm going to be sharing my unique perspective on the big fat problem, why it's happening. And then in slide 4, you are going to start to create a sense of urgency. So why is this so important now? What is happening in the market at a global level? What is happening in the property industry? What's happening with SARS? Paula, what's happening globally with brands in whatever business it is that you're doing? Alex, global warming, it's so it's dire. This is why you've got to be happening now. What this also does is it shows that you've done research, that you've got your finger on the pulse of why it is so important now. Then what you're going to do in slide 5, so you've created a bit of a sense of urgency, is here you're going to now be addressing all of those right brain people in the audience, or left brain people in the audience, that are wanting stats and numbers and proof of overall results. So this is where you're going to showcase your 50% growth in sales, 75% growth in sales, 82% return on investment, 82% client retention through practicing these strategies. So whatever it is, Louise, 3 months to sell your house, that's, and then you're going to measure it against the average. Okay, the average was 9 months. Work with me, it's 3 months. So these are stats and numbers. You're addressing all the logical stuff in the audience. Then over here, you are going to do proof of recent success, and you're going to share a client case study. So here you're going to show a particular client. So, I had, when I did this for the flow code, I had a huge big picture of Sarah up on the screen. Heart, here she was. She had her business. She just launched it. She came on the entrepreneur boot camp, and she took her business from here to there. And that was a case study. She was red over here, orange. Then these areas of her business were in red. Those are the things. And now she's in green. And I mean, if any of you haven't read Sarah's recent book that she's just put out, I don't know if you've seen it. It is flipping brilliant.
I'm going to the launch next week at Hyde Park. So excited. Cool.
So it's just I sat and I read it in one go. And I mean, it's so amazing because I was in that journey with her, and just reading all of that stuff, it's just so powerful. So here on slide 6, you're going to have proof of that. Then you're going to have here, which comes out of this work that we did in the client, in your blueprint development, is you're going to have, your blueprint here. You're going to have your overall value proposition. You're looking at how you're going to be saving them money, how you're going to build community and have that personal touch. What is the technology that you're going to use over here? And then in slide number 8, you're going to have your stacked offer. So there you're going to have, you get this, you get that, you get this, la, 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 and you get that stacked offer. And then you're going to say, your imaginary future. Now you know what the imaginary future is because you asked them in the 10 sales questions, where do you want to see yourself in 12 months' time? And here you have a picture of them on the beach, if that's where they said they wanted to be, working remotely, you know, traveling, whatever. And you use highly emotive pictures over here to actually do your closing statement, because in the bottom, in the long term and on the bottom line is that people buy with their heart and they justify their purchases with logic. So it's like you go into a store, you know you shouldn't buy that outfit or that shirt or that chocolate. Your heart's telling you need it and you want it. You know that it's illogical. You're going to buy it and then you're going to justify with logic. Well, because it's going to last for 2 years, or, you know, whatever it is. So we justify with logic. And then you go into saying to them, we're very, very excited to be taking this next step with you. What are your thoughts? And you get your yes, and you take the next steps in your client journey. And you'll find when you do this and you've actually taken people through this and you've done the trust strategies properly and you've done the love strategies properly, you don't get resistance going through this pitch deck, because you've addressed their concerns, you've addressed their questions, and you've already overcome their objections. Any questions or comments having had a look at that pitch deck?
Can we go through what is it, slide number 7 again? I just want to figure out what we were doing there.
So that's where you're looking, you're looking at your overall value proposition. So that's, you know, if I was talking about my business, I'd be saying there, you know, I'd be sharing my 3 words. So that would be around, you know, connecting to purpose, igniting your passion. You're going to be creating prosperity. Coming on the Sales Brilliance Bootcamp is going to increase your sales, because now I've already shown them the stats here, by 75%. It's going to be so exciting because it's limited to 10 people. So we're going to have this incredible opportunity to network and hear other people's ideas and really build a strategy. And the way that it's going to be delivered is it's going to be delivered on the Kajabi platform, but you are sharing your blueprint here. Because remember, your technology is also your blueprint. So I would have here the picture of the beautiful client cultivator blueprint, and I would take them through. We're going to get clarity, we're going to connect, we're going to cultivate, we're going to do ... step-by-step process. Then you give them the stacked offer, closing statement, and start the client journey. Okay. Any questions? Okay, so what I want to, yeah?
Just a quick one. Your slide 7 thing, the preposition, the spelling, value proposition, just for.
Oh, thank you. Thanks so much.
Sure.
So what I'd like you to do now is I'm gonna put you into a room, and I think it'll be quite cool for all of you just to work together and to just map out. So just literally with a pen, write down, like, what do you think you would have under slide 1, slide 2, slide 3, slide 4, slide 5, and then share it with each other. So Louise, just choose one of your businesses to do it with.
No, as we went through, I was sort of plotting it all out, because I want to put at this particular picture. Yeah. But yeah.
And then just give each other a little bit of feedback, or you can ask each other questions in the room. So I'm going to give you 20 minutes. So spend the first 10 minutes just kind of workshopping through the pitch deck, and then just actually talking through what your sales pitch deck would be. So just take 2 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes each. So do workshop for 10 minutes and then 2 or 3 minutes each to just talk through it and refine it. And then when we come back, we're gonna, I want you each just to give me your pitch deck and we'll just talk through it then. Any questions?
Can you put something up on for us to follow, the slides, or have we got something that can go on the screen? I don't know if you can share that.
I don't know if you can share screen. So you guys you've all got this. I sent it through to you this morning.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was in
so what I'll do is I'm gonna make,
I'll open that then.
let me make Paula, let me make you co-host.
Oh, don't worry, I'll
no, because then you can share your screen.
Oh, okay.
So you can just share your screen in the actual in the actual room. Yeah. Okay, so
which one is it on? Which of these 4 documents?
On today's. It's on today's one.
I've got 4 documents that you sent today. Like a Not Money Train, Super 10 sales pitch deck. That one.
That's it. Yeah, the Super 10 sales pitch deck. Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Okay, cool. So I'll let you know when it's 10 minutes, and then you can stop workshopping and run through it with each other. And I'll see you in 20 minutes time.
Cool.
Interesting.
Oh, hang on. I could hear your voices coming from far away. Just hang on one seckie. Here goes the timer. Hello.
Hi.
Okay, cool. So who'd like to go first and just take me through what your pitch deck, how it would be laid out?
Okay, cool. I'll go.
Okay.
Because I'm quite happy with mine. Okay, so slide number 1. Basically, because I'm right now not jumping up in front of CEO podiums, or maybe not having the opportunity to have somebody else introduce me, I feel like maybe this is my almost just my pitch in terms of self, but almost like my CV moment.
Yeah.
What have I done? Where did I come from? So I'm telling people about my background, about how I managed, 26 properties or 26 apartments, how we started doing hardcore maintenance on them, getting better tenants, seeing the building turn around, and just finding better ways to evaluate people as well and how to manage them. Then in terms of slide 2, one of the other things that I've seen come out of this is what happens when you get bad tenants. What happens when you leave your property to deteriorate, where you aren't doing inspections, you're not seeing how people are treating it. And that can really affect your investments, especially for people that have bought property with the idea that they will continuously get income out of them. So then, which leads us on to slide 3, which is how to solve.
So you need to put a little bit of your story in there, why you actually got involved in this business. So I mean, you could.
Okay, so in that case, so that's how. So the way I got involved in that is because my sister, who owns 2 properties, came to me the one day. She was like, "Listen, she's just found out that what happened was this estate agent who she very loosely gave permission to find a tenant for her, suddenly came, she found out that this guy was in her property. She didn't know him. They wouldn't share any of his information with her. she was suddenly then left alone to manage him on an ongoing basis, knowing nothing about him, not even knowing how to get in contact with him, and realizing that all these there were all these gaps in even his information. So he didn't have the rules of the building. He didn't know how to go about like dealing with her even. So there was just this really complete situation that was created unnecessarily. And she didn't know how to manage that going forward. So that's where she said, look, well, you've been doing this for work. Could you do it for me? And I was like, okay, cool. Well, let's give it a bash. Let's see where we go. And basically picked up from there, went and met with him, and found that he was also stuck in a situation on the other end, and managed to resolve it for both of them. You know, sometimes the resolution isn't always, you know, getting somebody to stick around and pay rent and getting themselves into more debt. Maybe the better option is to just let them go and rather find the right person in the right way. You know, sticking up notices that the property is for rent at the local spa doesn't necessarily give you the same person that is going online on Property 24, wants to see photos, then asks you to set up a viewing, as opposed to somebody that's like, oh my God, I have to move out of my place in 2 days. Can I pay my deposit to you now and move in? You know, that's a very different type of person to somebody that's really doing their own research and at the same time wanting to learn about what their rights are as a tenant. That's so important for them as well. So that's my
cool. So just you must just make that tighter so it's short.
Yeah, sorry, I'm waffling on a little bit.
No, that's fine, because you're thinking about it, but just like
yeah.
Cool.
Okay, so then how to like I did so this is all coming from also, I wish I'd done this before I went and pitched last month, but it doesn't matter, like I'm going to pitch to him again. But one of the problems that my new client is having is that he is a foreigner. He doesn't know what our property rules are. This is his first apartment, and he's going to try to be running it from overseas. I mean, he does travel out, but he doesn't know how to manage the tenant, what our local rules are, who to hire if he needs to fix something, and how to just go about generally making the most of his investment. So once he shared that with me, because I asked him from our previous talk, let's pretend, is that I'm local, I know the area, I've been currently managing that property. I have a list of local suppliers that I tap into, that I personally oversee, that I trust, and that I'm on top of all our local legislation. You know, what are the rules at the moment, and then also the resources that I'm using, such as TPN. I have my own lease agreements, I have my own acknowledgement of debts, and by hiring me, he's got access to all those things, as well as monthly reports to say this is how things going, these are any new developments, plus building that relationship with the tenant as well. So as much as my client is the owner of the property, I have to make sure that that tenant does what they say they're going to do, and that I build up trust with them, and vice versa. If I don't trust them, I don't want them to rent from me. So that's what my side number 3 is, my unique perspective, dealing with a big fat problem. So on to last time before, what did I say here? So yeah, so creating that sense of urgency in terms of what the property laws are, illustrating that whole, you know, change in how rentals and sales work lately. Gone are the days of you can take doors off of, you know, or turn off electricity even if your tenant doesn't pay rent. You know, how do you go about that? What is it? When you kick somebody out, Jesus, I can't think of what to say. And evict, yes. When you evict somebody, you know, how do you go about doing that? Who should you use? Who are the recommended attorneys, and how fast should you get that done? As well as in terms of sales, you also there's no longer foots toots, you know, you don't sell a property as anymore. There's very specific things that you have to make sure are compliant with your property before they can move over. Then slide number 5, showing overall results, basically showing how my properties all have good paying tenants, you know, people that are constantly up to date, that have good, and then also making sure that those tenants are registered. So are they on the TPN system so that future landlords can then tap into that and see how they paid their rent? And then also doing maintenance for the long run. There's no point in doing absolutely nothing for 3-4 years and then suddenly realizing that you've got to gut your whole place and completely do everything. Rather keep that constant maintenance budget and then helping them to also allocate a maintenance budget every month. Even if we don't use it, let it roll over, let it accumulate so that your property in the long run will pay for itself. Then on to slide number 6, which is client case studies. So also giving them access to my current clients, asking, and I did this recently as well, who out of my clients would they mind if I pass their number on or their email addresses so that they could get in contact for a first-hand referral. And also photos of properties, like where are the different properties I manage, what condition are they currently in. On to slide number 7, overall value proposition. So what I can create for them, which is a stable profit, which is stable income in a solid investment that will continue over time. And then my stacked offer, which is my all-inclusive price, so that goes back to my monthly fee. I don't do a once-off. I'm an ongoing service forever, you know, for as long as you want. And then where do you see yourself in 12 months' time? Or in the case of my new clients, his vision is to have properties in multiple countries that he can rent out and then rent it for a year. When that contract is up, thank you very much, tenant, please move out. I'm coming to stay here for the next 2 years and make that my home base. Great. So in the meantime, he has, you know, built up, he's made sure that the property is to his personal standard, and he's used that income from the rent to make sure that that's happened. So, and then, so I want to pitch to him that the Sex in the City Carrie Bradshaw apartment that he pictured is there. It's waiting for him. He's got his walk-in cupboard. He's got his beautiful balcony. Has he put storage, furniture into storage, and it's all ready for him. So that's where I want to go for him. And then lastly, slide number 10, get a decision. So yeah, making sure that my service level agreement is signed, it's in place, we are ready to go, and that's the end. So thank you.
Cool. Brilliant. Awesome. So I want to see from all of you at some point soon this blueprint. Okay. Even if it's a sketch. Okay, so 6 minutes each. 6 minutes for you, Alex, 6 minutes for you, Jules. Who's going first?
Yeah, okay.
Are you ready?
Go, Jules.
Yeah, because I've got a meeting at 11:30, so there we go, just now. Okay, so slide 1. Okay, so that's just basically the intro. So years in industry, qualification, my member bodies, who I belong to, experience in the field in the way of the whole accounting tax. And also I've included like clients that I have worked with in the past and still working with. So that's basically slide 1 that will be put together. Slide 2, my story. Did struggle with it, but I came to a thought then to Louise. So basically, when I started in the industry, I started it as a receptionist in an accounting firm, and I was not as a little kid. And I always enjoyed seeing the value that, you know, the accounting clerks and the tax manager and everything brought to small businesses. You know, so from there, that's where I actually moved myself out of reception into tax, because I like the you know, because I enjoyed the interaction and also making a difference in somebody else's like business life. All basics, but I'll obviously work on all of that as I'm putting them together. Slide 3 was the big fat problem. Yeah, I've just put here SARS. So if there's any other big fat problem, it's SARS. SARS and government in the whole in how difficult it is for SMEs in this industry. You know, and what the solutions are and what we can do to help them through that process. Slide 4. Illustrate market movement. Why now? Okay, well, why now? I mean, SARS is on a rampage, and they're actually getting very dangerous in the way of what they're, you know, of everything they're putting out there and how difficult they're making it for people, and the drive that the compliance and money drive that they are on at the moment. So yeah, they're very dangerous to small businesses. So definitely the why now issue is that. Slide 5, stats and numbers. Yeah, I'm still thinking about that. So basically the saving of things, it starts with time for my clients.
Yeah.
So basically giving them back time so that they can be more productive in the business, increase their turnover and increase their profits.
Yeah.
So it's more or less along those lines for me. At 6 is client's case study. Okay, so what comes to mind there is the startup businesses that I've been working with since they opened their doors and their growth at you know, like 5-6 years later. I
mean, that could also be, Jules, where you took a business that was non-compliant through a process and they're now compliant.
Yeah, no, definitely. So there's a couple of those, and you know, also maybe a couple of SARS cases that have been won. Though back in the day, that was easier than it is now. So yeah, that's something I'm going to have to go on. Slide 7. Well, basically, so yeah, so that is, so I haven't finalized my blueprint as yet. So I actually think I would like to do that first before I actually like delve in slide 7.
Yeah.
Slide 8, so basically this is our offerings.
Yeah.
So what I am busy doing there, and it affect this, is I'm busy categorizing clients and putting a set retainer fee on
good
size of the client, you know, what you know, what's involved and how big they are and whatnot. So so yeah, I would just share that, and also trying to keep it as simple as possible, so not have a full list. Try and get a simplified form where it, you know, just like there's 3 line items and this is what we can give you if you do this kind of thing. Slide 9, the imaginary future. So I've just written here, what will the future look like if you had a successful business?
Correct.
Yeah, cool. So just like hunting on that. And starting the client journey, get a decision. So so they're just getting a decision. So what do they want their future business to look like?
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's me.
Cool.
A lot of work to be done, but that's just like what I've done.
No, that's great. It's a good framework to have. Okay, Alex.
All right. So I've been involved in organic farming in one way or another since 2014. So plenty of experience and knowing full on from how to manage a fairly decent sized area to small gardens. I've designed and installed many small-scale farms and food gardens in Joburg, and now getting experience in Cape Town. I'm a member of SAWASO, the Organic Association of South Africa, and then some future goals, hopefully a member of the Cape Town PGS and the Biodynamic Association, as well as completed design courses and potentially landscaping courses. And currently, while installing and managing these gardens in people's homes, also involved in production of organic food, and yeah, running that, helping to manage that in a successful way. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much the typical kind of inspired person to have their own garden going, and yeah, turning a several square meters into a productive space so that I can harvest produce, and not have to buy everything I eat from the shops. But the realities are the same pests that affect you affect me. Harsh conditions are across the board, and yeah, working at how to make my mini garden productive, but also consistently productive is something that I'm constantly working at.
So is this slide 2 now that you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. Sorry. Yeah, slide.
Okay.
Yeah. No. So. Yeah. I mean, the same issues apply across the board. I'm not sitting in an isolated space. We've got the same conditions, the same pests, and I've been working at that for many years to get that right. And also the other challenge is having the time to be in the garden and give it the attention that I need. So what is the problem? I mean, the overall big problem is that as humanity, we're having a very bad impact on the entire globe, and the reality is that we're all impacting in a small way to this global issue. We need to reevaluate how we live and what we do in order to have a positive impact. So we've limited time. The expenses are already high all around us, and what do we need to do, or what can we get help with to reduce our demand on time and our water costs, for example, petrol costs and all that. And yeah, I mean, the garden is a tricky place. There are the elements are working against us. Nature is not predictable. Pests are always an issue, and what do we need to do to actually make our homes, our gardens easier to manage? What options are out there? Yeah. And moving on to why, we're starting to see inflation continue to rise, so costs of food are going up. The cost of fuel is drastically skyrocketing. So,
yeah.
We need to look at ways of how to reduce costs on food, but also just the time and the input that it needs to that we need to get our food. So yeah, I mean, our food in these days is becoming, if you're not sourcing from organic farmers, it's there's increased amounts of synthetic fertilizer that are used. Poor soils also contributing to lots of pests. So the reality is, if we're buying conventional food, we're likely consuming more of synthetic chemicals and pesticides, and we need to look at ways of actually cutting that out for the short-term benefits, but of course the long-term benefits, which sometimes are just too late to deal with if we continue to eat food from poor sources. So yeah, I mean, it's moving on to the proof. I mean, the reality is that a small garden of a few square meters, 2-3 square meters, can be first of all producing fresh food, fresh salad ingredients and herbs within 6 weeks. So it's not a long turnaround time, relatively speaking, to be able to put invest into a small space in your garden, and you in no time you're actually going to be harvesting your own food. It's also going to take you as little as 5 minutes to get a salad together. You don't have to mission off to the shops and spend potentially half an hour and walking through the aisles, collecting things, standing in a queue. We don't want to be doing that. We want to be freeing up our time to enjoy the food we're eating, but also the spaces that we have in our garden that we tend to avoid because we're spending time shopping and driving to the shops. And I mean, just simple things that we can do that have a great impact is, for example, trying to cut back the amount of water that we put down our drains and getting that into our gardens.
So you don't have to go through your whole sales pitch. I just want to know that you've got it down.
Okay.
So you've got your
cool. So
and I mean, I love what you need to do. What you need to be careful of is is over communicating. So here, have your garden ready in 6 weeks. Fuel costs cut by 27%, and then just have like this recent case study. I mean, your flow is happening anyway. I mean, I'm just aware of our time. So
no, completely.
So, then obviously, sorry, I'm cutting you a little bit short here, but slide 7 is going to have your blueprint on it, your community. Obviously, it's going to be saving people money with, when you're talking through your sales, you must speak to the slide that you're on. So here you on the stats and the numbers. Here you're on the client case study. Here. And one of the things that you do a lot of, Alex, is you say a lot of the time. So when you're speaking, just be aware of that.
Sure.
Because it's very off-putting. Toastmasters would be good for you. So to come and say, right, here's the 3D solution. It's going to save you time. It's saving you money on the petrol. From a community perspective, you are growing your community, you are becoming part of my community, you're helping the planet. Here's the step-by-step process that you're going to go through. Here's your stacked offer. Imagine when you can walk out into the garden and pick a salad in 6 minutes, 5 minutes, instead of having to get into your car. That's the imaginary future.
Yeah.
And what you're doing is you're bringing too much of everything into each slide. So map it out so that it's very precise and to the point on each of those slides. Okay.
Cool. Yeah, no, great.
And then we'll do a proper pitch at our next session where I want to see all the slides. Lovely. But I'm going to put that into the homework for all of you guys to do.
Sounds good.
Okay. I've got to hop off. I've got a meeting 2 minutes ago.
Okay.
Brilliant
so much.
session. And hope you all have a beautiful, beautiful weekend.
Thank
and
you.
I will
You too.
post the dates for April into the group. I just want to have a look at when there's public holidays and all of that kind of thing, because April there's about 5 4-day weeks in a row. Cool.
Beautiful. Thank you,
Lots
guys.
of love.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye.